guys, welcome back to WeWatchedAMovie. Jay and Mike, and I'm back. We're back. We're together once more. Backstreet's back. No, we're not. Okay.
Return of the Mac.
We watched a movie. Yeah. We watched a movie. We watched it. We watched a movie. Yeah. You know what? We did a review. We watched a movie.
So, X-Men Days of Future Past. I got to go see this yesterday, and I actually saw it twice in one day.
Two-fisted it.
I double-fisted that bitch. Two in the big, one in the stink. So, yeah, but I was amazing. I was fucking blown away. I didn't get to do the spoiler review or non-spoiler review because Mike graciously did that. Thank you very much. And now we're going to be bringing you the spoiler review. So let's jump right into this bitch and figure out what's going on.
Ugh.
So, bring it, Mike.
That's so good.
Bring it!
Yeah! So we start out, you get in there, Xavier's doing his badass, like, Patrick Stewart voiceisms over top of everything, and you see all the mutants just like in the frickin' comic book, you know, everything's gone to waste, everyone's gone to shit. Some people say there was an appearance of Cable in there. I saw the people they're talking about, but you don't know whether or not this kid with the thing carved on his face is Cable or not. It'd be pretty cool if they harken back to that, and it is.
Yeah.
And, but you move on, and then it starts out with just a fucking bang, does it not?
Starts out with a
Does it not?
in the pants.
And so you got the new characters automatically doing their shit. You got Bishop in there who looks awesome, even though he barely has any lines in the movie. He looks perfect Bishop-like.
I just want to know why, like, I know why, I mean, in the movie, I guess it makes sense, but why is he wearing a fucking cape? It's like, you're supposed to be wearing tactical gear, and he's like, I'm going to throw this cape on so I can be different.
It's like
it's a red crimson cape. I think he just does this, like, when he walks the hallway, he goes, whoosh. He's like, I'm not have to take this, and he's like, and then, I was the same thing with Magneto. Why does he wear a cape?
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
Just so he looks cool.
I guess, yeah.
Badass.
Stand out.
And then, of course, you got Blink, who I didn't think was going to be all that cool, but they would have had no chance against those Sentinels.
That little bitch with elf ears is hot and amazing.
Dude, those portals.
I hope she's not young.
That's what made it look so comic bookish, though. The portal scenes, like, I was like, boom, portal, boom, portal, boom. She was going nuts with the portals. I was like, I don't even know who's coming from where.
But she so looked like a mutant, though. I mean, every other mutant looks like normal, except for maybe Bishop with the red eyes, but he could hide that, and Gaiman had red eyes, but she looks like a fucking elf. Yes. It's like, you can't really be disguising that. And you're like, I mean, I know in the comic books and the X-Men comics, there's other mutants that don't look humanish, and they look like Toad is one, but she's just like, it's like fantasy. It's like Tolkien made a fucking X-Men. And she's like, I can do crazy things. And then you're like, but you have amazing purple eyes and knife ears.
That's another thing, though, too. If you go with someone who's not seen the movies, you might want to explain it to them. Like, okay, these are these people and these are their powers. Because they just kind of throw it out there. You're like, who's doing what?
I would be so pissed off. Like, if I had to go with my wife or anybody else that didn't know anything about comic books and that, like, everybody's like, what are they doing? I was like, just shut the fuck up. Because I hate when people just keep asking. But then again, you feel compelled also to explain every situation to them.
Yeah, so
like,
give them a 5-minute, like, quick breathe-through of what's going to go on. Because they just go with it. But that scene is so badass. You see, and another thing you see in other parts of the movie, too, that's really cool. You see mutants dying. Yeah. You see X-Men dying, which I'm not saying it's cool to you like want X-Men to die, but it's surreal. You're watching, like, I can't believe all these X-Men are fucking dying. It's like, but it's okay because they're gonna go back and fix it.
Did you kind of get like, I was like, when that little kid at the beginning when he was going through like all the dirt and shit, and you see the little X phone? Yeah. And I'm like, what? The way they shot the destruction scene in New York, and they went to different locations was amazing. It looked like the video that Imagine Dragons probably wanted to do for Radioactive. and you know, like, the friggin' ships that bring in the Sentinels, like, they're upside down coffins. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, they're upside down coffins, and if I'm a mutant, I'm like, holy fuck, we're fucked.
Yeah,
because they're upside down coffins.
It looked like a Megadeth video.
It looked like Cyberdon took a dump. It's like his little robots are coming down. I'm like, oh.
Oh, and that one scene when they finally come at the end, you think there's like one in each one, like hundreds of them fly out like a fucking wasp nest. That was scary as shit. I was like, oh, it's on now. Yeah. I turned around and looked at my wife's face when I saw it the second time I went to see it. When they flew out, she went. But yeah, so you go on, and it's awesome how they work together. It looks just like the comic book with all the purple portal shit going on, and those Sentinels are so badass. I expected to want to see the giant, like, standard Sentinels more than anything else, but those CGI ones are fucking sick, man.
They did a great job with those, and I guess I think somebody in the comment section a while ago said that those were based on the Nimrod Sentinels from the X-Men cartoon, which is badass. I'm glad they did something like that, because it makes sense that like an adaptive kind of Sentinel in the future. That's bad. I loved it. And the thing is, like, I just keep going back to it, dude, because the way just the fucking futuristic stuff they shot with, like, that was like within the first 20 minutes, especially when they showcased that fight scene with all the X-Men working together, and I'm like, this is gonna be gold.
Unlike Donkey Kong, man. That's you fucking knew. You just knew.
The Donkey Kong?
Unlike Donkey Kong. It's unlike Donkey
Kong. Oh, I thought you
Kong.
were like, did you play Donkey Kong?
Oh, damn it.
I don't play it.
So, but you go on from that, and Iceman shows up, and he's got a beard, so he doesn't look like a 9-year-old boy anymore, which is nice. And he looks like he knows his shit for once. We get to see Colossus in action finally, which is badass, even though he gets his ass kicked a little bit. But when the Sentinels start like doing the shit that they do, like I guess as comic fans, we don't really even know. We're like, oh shit, they're adapting. You say it to yourself like you're possessed. Xavier's like, they've adapted. But no, like when the guy turns into Colossus and punches him in the face, and then Iceman, the guy turns to fire, and then when Sunspot, who looks like he needs to wash his damn hair.
He needs to stay out of the sun. He's got bubbles shit all over his skin. I didn't notice that at first when I first saw him, and I was like, damn, man, your shit's chewed up. I was like, you gotta go sunblock 9000.
And then, of course, you got Warpath.
It just seems so plain compared to everybody else.
Yeah, they just didn't showcase him very well.
He's like, I got a knife.
It was like Rambo, dude. Like, when he got back into the corner, he was just like,
well, where would he be without Blink? I mean, she's the one like teleporting his ass around and making him jump on me. But like
they've all been fucked with that.
When he was when he's by himself, he just like, watch what I can do. And he's like, I'm gonna jump and get my ass blasted.
And Kitty Pryde didn't bother me. She didn't. Ellen Page bothers me. It's not about her face usually, but she didn't look like Ellen Page. She didn't come off as bitchy. Like she sometimes comes off as. But that scene was so badass, just the way the Sentinels did, and they were killing everybody.
It was like a mini Avengers battle.
Yeah,
like how they showcased it.
Exactly, and then fucking Professor Xavier and everybody shows up. He's got his hovercraft.
I love it.
That was badass.
So there it was.
I don't need wheels. Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Finally, they have it. Like, have you been waiting on a teleporter goddamn wheelchair? You wondering when those scientists were going to make one for him?
And they show up in their new armor too, which is like Kevlar Batman looking at.
I liked it. I liked it. Okay, I didn't like Wolverine's. He just looked fat. Like he just walked in. He's like, oh.
I still want to see the original.
Well, I know what it is. Like bulletproof or thing. I guess.
One day we will see the original. Maybe when he goes back and like fights with the guys from First Class, they'll be like, hey, put this old shit on.
It's like,
you know,
I'm not gonna wear that.
That'd be badass. But no, so they go out and they tell the whole story. They tell it really quick. Kitty Pryde has to throw Wolverine back in time, and I love that scene where he's like, "You knew what was coming," but it was still badass when Logan's like, "What about someone whose mind can snap back?" And you're like, "Fuck yeah, it's Wolverine. He's going in."
It just seemed like Wolverine was like, I don't even understand this shit. Just put it on. Just do it.
Just tell me.
And that was a pure Wolverine to me because like he wouldn't understand that stuff. He's like, so you're telling me that you could go make people go back in time? And she's like, yeah. He's like, okay.
Patience isn't my strong.
He's like, whatever, just do it.
So and he wakes up in the 70s with this weird 70s with his brain, and of course he's got a chick in the bed with him because that's just how Wolverine does it. I love the waterbed joke. He's like, what the fuck?
Have you ever had one of those?
Yeah.
They they make you sick.
It's kind of fun.
Well, I think, and then of course when he stands up, I knew it was gonna happen. Like he got a butt shot scene. Immediately. It
was Terminator.
Hey, check that out. Yeah, it was Laura Van Damme, early 90s.
I thought they were going to show the tip coming through the other side for a second there. I was like, you're not going to... Okay, they didn't.
If that's a long dong.
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, he is Wolverine, but you see the tip, I'm like, damn.
Is it made of adamantium?
But, I was like, is it? Would it be? That would hurt. Like, what if it was?
Sounds like Brody and Mallrats trying to ask Stan Lee.
Is the Rock's thing even like his junk? Like, I don't know. We didn't get into that in the comic book cut.
So he comes out, and then like these guys come in, and you don't get a lot of people are concerned there's too much Wolverine, there's too much Wolverine. But in most of the other movies, they focus on him, and he is a part of the focus of the thing and the main thing. But he's not your typical Wolverine for one. Like he's not like I'm just gonna kick people's ass. Like he has to take a step back and take a leadership role and be like a kind of almost a father figure to Xavier and try to do for him what Xavier did for him. And it's really cool to see Logan in that kind of place. Like he wasn't the typical Logan we've seen for so many films, but you do get to see Berserker a little bit when these guys come in and try to attack him, and he pulls out the bone claws, and he's like, "What?" But that scene actually doesn't make much sense though, because the first scene, like. When Wolverine ended and he's on the plane or whatever, he had his bone claws. But then when he's in the future, he's got adamantium. And then when he goes back in the past, he's got the bone claws again. So that's kind of confusing.
Hey, Brian Singer was his leap of faith. He said sometimes he wouldn't be able to explain every single thing.
It's kind of weird how they did that. So.
But it was funny in that scene when he pops them and he's like, you can see his reaction. He's like, what? Yeah. He's like, there they are. Now we get busy. And then, I'm going to bone your shit. That's what he's like.
But he actually did the Terminator thing too, though. It seems like he was like, "You have to give me your clothes and your car, or things are gonna get ugly, or whatever." But I did like how he puts on his pants and he's got no underwear.
Did you? I guess we were the only people in the theater that thought, like, God, you nasty. He's like, you're gonna have dick stink and fucking like vagina smell all over your wiener, and you're just gonna walk around.
I guess that's how like
he didn't take a shower.
Used to do it. That's he traveled through time. Man.
I mean, fine. He got out of the shower. He didn't have underwear, and he's like, okay, I'm clean. I'll just put these on and go get some underwear. But he just got out of bed with his skank and was like.
That's how they used to do in 80s action films, though. I could do that, man. My dick would be pressing against the zipper.
Well, it's like early 70s. I guess nobody wore underwear. So like, hey, we were gonna have sex. Here we go. It's just everybody was fucking.
And you get to see Wolverine wearing the clothes from like the old comic books. That was kind of neat to see. And he goes out, and there's a kind of almost, it was funny, but if they would have went too longer with it, it would have been Spider-Man 3 corny-ish with it if they like stuck with this weird like, and he has got like the Lucky Rabbit keychain and stuff like that. It was good for what it was of that short little scene. But then you go on and he meets with Beast. And that's freaking cool. That's really cool. When he gets in a fight with Beast, man, it reminded me like the awesome fan service they do in the Avengers when they fight each other. Like they get in that fight and Beast throws him down the tail. I was laughing my ass off. I was like, yes! This is what I wanted.
And that, like, to me, also when he meets James McAvoy right after that.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't the fact that he was meeting Professor Xavier, Wolverine, or whatever. It was the fact that you actually got to see McAvoy and Hugh Jackman together, and in a significant portion of the film, like, having a scene together.
McAvoy's like, get off the chandelier.
Like, fuck off. I thought that was a fucking awesome scene, like, the whole thing. And that's the thing, like, this movie was packed with fucking emotion. And McAvoy is Terry McTierson, and I loved every fucking... Dude, god damn, McAvoy's great.
Dude,
he's great.
Amazing.
He's Mel Gibson.
He owns the film.
No, but he's not like. I mean, but he can bring and portray the emotion like Mel Gibson could back in the day. Yeah. And like everything he was able to do. Yeah,
he's always crying.
It's like Licky. It's like, why is your face doing this? And then he makes your face cry.
Gas fluid.
It's like you get shocked that he could make you get emotional.
Oh, I know.
And you're like, what?
And he plays crazy so well too. Like, and that's what we were saying. We'll just go through this whole thing right here because this is, to me, this movie, this scene anchors the film. First off, you got Wolverine's and his interaction with McAvoy, like you're talking about, and then as it goes further later in the film, McAvoy and Logan have this moment, and I almost cried at that moment. First off, when Logan got emotional for just a quick second, he was like, "You did say the wrong guy," you know. And he comes over there and he's talking to him, and he's trying to help him or whatever. I was just like, "This is so crazy, amazing!" Like, well, first off, I mean, McAvoy's shooting up. Professor Xavier's upstairs shooting up.
I thought you were psychic. Don't you know that's bad for you?
And at first, before they explained what it was, I was like, "Is he about to do heroin? What the fuck?"
If he had turned on fucking like Pink Floyd and fucking sat there, I was like, "This is a totally different kind of movie now."
Yeah,
I was like, "This is ridiculous."
It was crazy, but I love it. I love that they took it there, and that's what Singer did with this movie. Makes it so great. When McAvoy goes back in time and has that scene with Xavier, the writing in that film is the best writing, the best scene of anything I've seen this year, and I'm sure it'll stay that way. I cried like a bitch during that scene when it came on. When he's talking to him and he's like, I mean, just the whole thing, what they're saying there, like the hidden meanings behind that. And I was gonna say real quick, just to get serious for a quick second, that's what fucking comic books are, man. People don't understand why as geeks love comic books and shit in that comic book world so much. It's not just, it's not, I know, but it's not just like, oh, Superman, yay!
I know you like that, so you're like, ah.
Yeah, I know, but still, at the same time, they all tell this underlying moral story that you can like convey to your own life. Yeah. They tell these crazy stories. So you can pass it down to your children and their children and children. It's like, I've watched this movie and these are morals. My grandfather carried this watch in his ass for 20 years.
I thought you were like pantomiming like my ass.
I did. I had a scratch. I was trying to use that as an excuse. Oh. Integration. Sanitation. Sanigration.
Immigration.
Pomegranate.
Oh.
Right. But no, that scene, I cried like a baby. That scene was the most emotional shit I've ever seen in my life. And just seeing though, like McAvoy's like face in it, like he looks like it's about to get ripped off from emotion.
That scene was amazing. I didn't cry like a bitch like you said, but I came close. I half bitched it because it came up my throat and I couldn't talk. I was like, and I feel like what I did was I did that acting thing. My eyes kind of welled up, but they didn't drop. And I just was looking around at people like, "Do you see? Do you see?" But I mean, I was in the wrong theater because nobody else was like crying. Like I don't get anybody else.
Well, I wasn't like stopping. Nobody knew I was crying.
Not crying, but you know, nobody else. Like I was sitting around the theater. Nobody else was like. Nobody was. It was just like. Oh, this is the scene.
Were you looking at people?
Yeah, I was.
You crying?
I was like,
fucking crying?
I was making sure. I didn't want to be the only one. I didn't want to be the only guy. I was alone. I didn't want to be the only guy sitting in the corner. It's like that guy's so stacked. Anyway, so yeah, but that scene was great, and like McAvoy, like I said, he does fucking bring the emotion. He packs it in. And like, I don't know, I guess the part where he actually meets the older Charles Xavier and that Charles Xavier tells him how to take it and bear it and being able to go past the pain and he's like, we need you to hope again and that's it. You know, all that stuff just packed into that one little moment was fucking great. And I get what you're saying when you're saying like comic book movies need to be taken, like they can take it seriously. This is what Bryan Singer did. He was like, this is the X-Men movie that people, I think, have always wanted to see. It takes a serious subject material like discrimination and prejudice and being outside and loners and having these group of people that just happen to have superpowers fighting together for a common cause and packing with all this emotion that would go along with something like that, and he does it perfectly on screen. Yeah. Because otherwise, you're right, you just would have a bunch of bright colors and shit. I mean, even Batman movies has emotion in it. Like, Man of Steel, all that stuff without that stuff.
It's all got an underlying thing that matters. Can you pull that out or not? Yeah. And he does it in this movie. I think he did it better than that one scene, better than any movie before. I mean, that's talking comic book movies like that. Just it's all. I mean, you're talking about the forgiveness for Mystique, the believing in people, the believing in the good of people, like the hoping for good shit to happen. I mean, that's fucking comic books. And Singer just did amazing. He took the source material and actually, like, most people come to here. Here's a comic book. Most movies come to here. The good ones come to here. You know, the great ones, you know, come to here.
So you
fucking win here.
You're making a Big Mac.
Yeah, and then you put the special sauce on.
What's that?
Chiz.
I think Bryan Singer also fucking probably like wrote McAvoy's character. Like I know it's Charles Xavier, but I don't think he wrote that moment or how Charles Xavier is. It's probably how he felt after X-Men 3, and he was like all a broken man. And then the 20th Century Fox came to him. He's like, "We need you to make X-Men." He's like, "I don't want your future." And they were like, "Please help us." And he was like, "I will do it." Or they were like, or maybe he was like, "Give me a day to think about it." And then like the next day, 20th Century executives were like, "Did you figure it out?" He's like, "Yes."
They're probably
like, let's begin.
They're probably like, "We're gonna try to make another X-Men and fix everything," and he was probably like, "You poor man."
This was a complete dick slap to that asshole director from X-Men 3.
Oh,
He's
man.
like, "Do you like to suck ass? Because you just did."
The
You
end
like
is
it?
just the giant middle finger. It's like, look at this dick.
You know that guy, if he sees that guy, if they're at the red carpet event, the guy that did X-Men 3 is Brett Ratner, isn't it?
Yeah.
If he sees Brett Ratner, he was like, "I'm a fucking star." Look at the pay. Oh my god. Like, and you know Brett Ratner was like, "Fuck it."
He's like, "Thanks for erasing my whole fucking movie."
Brett Ratner's like, "I'll make my goal 3." So whatever.
But you move on from that scene. You've got the awesome scene when they bust out Magneto. They go get Quicksilver. Quicksilver's fucking awesome. The shit that I love that he's a klepto. He's got like cupcakes and shit, like the kind of shit that you would steal if you were a teenager.
They really got to step it up in Avengers because that guy was perfect.
Oh, I know, like you wouldn't think that either because you see the stills from him. You see him in the Hardy's commercial. You're like, that guy looks like a disco queen. Like,
I just thought he looked like a douche in there.
Yeah, it
he's
was
like, I have a burger and I was really fast. I'm like, oh shit.
But they got as a costume at like Party City, but it works perfectly once you see the actual film, and it makes you feel like a jackass. But
it looks like that costume looks like it would be in The Crow, like because Halloween till mañana.
Fire it up! But no, he goes in and like I love like his whole setting. Like, he lives with his mom and shit in the basement, and then he goes the fucking scene. I don't know how they shot it so amazingly. The scene where he busts out Magneto and the cops there, and that music's playing. He's running around the side or whatever. I don't know how they shot that scene, but it looks so cool. It was awesome. And just his character's hilarious. Like, it adds a lot of comedy and shit to it. I laughed my balls off at him.
Your balls came off?
They fell off. They were like, "Quicksilver,
did you put them in your pocket and put them on later? Well, yeah, that guy, when he was in American Horror Story, I think he was in all of them. He's actually a really good actor. And he was good in the TV show. I didn't know how he was going to translate on film, and he did awesome with it. So.
People complain he wasn't in the film enough, and I would like to see more of him just because he was so entertaining to watch.
But there were so many. I mean, I think if they can't pack them all in because he's not Joss Whedon, okay? You gotta do what Joss Whedon did. I mean, he was able to take these big, larger-than-life characters and give them enough screen time, but they had built these characters up, so they really didn't need them.
We built this city. Sorry.
On rock and roll. But yeah, I don't know why we know that song, but we do. But, you know, if he had put too many of those in, it would have lacked the emotional punch.
Well, not just that.
And, I mean, you wanted to focus on Magneto and Xavier and Wolverine a little bit and Mystique. That was where it all was together.
That's where the main story
was. Yeah, but if you put too much flavoring in it, then it loses.
And they did a great job of harkening back to Bishop and everybody fighting on the wall, like Jon Snow trying to protect shit. They did a great job showing them their powers, making stuff look cool, getting a little bit of Magneto and Storm in there a little bit. Like, they didn't have time to focus on their stories, but every time they showed somebody, it accelerated the story a little bit. Everybody had the same common goal, and that made this movie really like cohesive and work. And the thing with Quicksilver is he's too lighthearted and comedic. I think after that scene, shit got serious.
You see,
it got real fast. And like to have Quicksilver in there like a kiddish like comedian, I don't think he would have fit in that moment. Maybe when he's older it'll fit in. But I'm glad that they, you can
see touchings of him actually becoming more like because the Quicksilver was originally a bad guy and becomes like an asshole later on. Yeah. Because when he sees Magneto giving that speech, he like starts really involving himself in like what Magneto's saying. And it's funny though. I like the little fan service they did do. He's like, "So you control metal?" He's like, "My mom knew a guy like that." And you could see Magneto was like, "Oh." He's just like, that Maury Povich moment. He's like, "You are the father." He's like,
Mystique's character was pretty cool. Jennifer Lawrence did a great job as her again. That body. Some people they get turned on by like the blue body because it's her naked. I'm like, the blue thing would still.
It's like a fish scale.
Yeah, I can't be as attracted to her when she's in the blue. I'd be the guy that was like, "No, take the potion, get out again."
But if you do that though, she'd probably like choke you to death.
Then Magneto would be like, "She needs to be herself."
But then, I think you mentioned it yesterday. What if she like transformed to a man while you're on top of it?
That's what I'm saying.
Like right in the moment of going.
Yeah, that'd be sad. If she just wanted to piss you off or something, and like you're going or whatever, it's just like, this sucks. You're having sex, and she turns into like, I don't know, Jerry Springer. All of a sudden, you're like, "Oh no, you can never."
She could be a complete bitch to you if you got into a big fight with her. If you're actually dating her, and she like turned into your fucking mom. And you're like,
oh god! If she really wanted to fuck with somebody, she could do that, like a bad guy or something like that. Somebody she didn't like. Well, she did that to Wolverine. She turned into Stryker. Remember in X2?
Yeah. Well, she was on top of
what you want, Logan. And he was like, get off me. But yeah, so her character's cool. I love the scene, the big fight scene where Magneto comes in there. He's like, "By the way, I'm gonna kill this bitch. Yeah. I don't care what you all say." And he turns on everybody and shit like that. And then what he did with the bullet there was awesome. What they did with the little spot of blood was awesome. It's like it changed the whole story. They're like, okay, well, now we're going this way because they got a piece of her blood anyway, so we just gotta fuck shit up.
Yeah.
But the way they did the camera angles in that scene, where they made it like the 1970s
film
shit,
reels.
that looked awesome. It was kind of scary.
It, yeah. I know, but it looked like something that you would find like an old CIA footage, like archives, like these are mutants that really happened.
It does a great job again of showing, like you said, the mutant's plight. Like it paint like they hold Beast up and everybody's pointing at him like freaking out, and he's like looking
like he's like a fucking zoo.
He hates like that shit. Yeah. Like, and you could see it on his face. Just the way they told that story was awesome. And then Trask, I thought we both thought that Peter Dinklage was good as Trask. I thought we both laughed the part we watched it. He's like, "Is that a new scarf?"
It looks lovely. I love it. It's like, so apparently this is what happens when you don't get out of trial. Yeah. Like Jamie couldn't save you, and now you become an asshole Trask. I just every time I saw him, like, I mean, he's a fucking amazing actor, obviously, but I just wanted him every time. Like he said something to the Senate when he was talking to him, trying to pitch him the Sentinel program, and they were like laughing at him, and he was like, "You've already lost 2 hours." He was like, "And Atlantis will always face that death." But anyway, yeah, he was great. I like Bolivar Trask, and Peter Dinklage he brought it to the house, so good for him.
So, and you go on towards you get towards the climactic scene pretty much. Magneto goes in there, and that scene was so fucking sick, man. I mean, you saw part of it in the trailer, which I wish you hadn't have, but the guy's like, "Can I help you?" He was like, "No." And he starts to lift the stadium. When he lands the stadium around the White House, you're like, "Ah!"
When he cuts off the White House.
That is so cool.
I know, everybody in the theater was like, "Oh." And I was like, so that's what he's doing with it. Because when you saw that floating, like, Xavier was like, I guess he's just doing it to be badass. Like, he was like, I would do it if I had that power. I was like, I could lift this whole stadium. Like, for no reason, I'm just going to go do it. Then he drops it on the White House to cut it off, and I'm like, he is so smart.
If it was the Astro Stadium, everybody would be like, well, we didn't need it anyway.
So he also is able to gain control and sabotage the Sentinels. While they're on the train, he puts like little pieces of metal filaments in them, and he's able to control them after that, because they're made out of a space-age polymer, is what Peter Dinklage, Bolivar Trask had said before, so they can't be touched by people that control metal, but he changes that. So yeah, he gets down to the White House, and he's going to basically kill Richard Nixon. It's like, how many people wanted to do that in the 70s?
Can you believe, by the way, they made JFK a fucking mutant? How crazy is that?
What if they actually show him doing something? I don't know.
That's such good storytelling right there. That's crazy.
I'm glad that, but that really fucking stopped Charles Xavier at that moment when he was like, he was one of us, and he was like, you know, it was just like one of those things, because he was trying to be mad at Magneto when they're on the plane, and when he was like, he's like, you killed the president, and he was like, I didn't kill him, he was one of us, and he was like, it just was like those petulant child. It's like, whatever.
I like that one too. It's like, if you want to fight, Eric.
And then Wolverine was like, hey. And he was like, just let him come.
But I like at the end of that too, Wolverine's like, you're a survivor like me. And that writing right there was awesome too. It was perfect, like comedy. He's like, now pick all that shit up. I was like, I fucking love it.
Yeah, he's like, so you've always been an asshole.
Yeah.
Like, but you know, the thing is, just James McAvoy in that scene, like, again, that just brings the emotional range. Because it just looked like he's like a petulant child that fucking got, like, I remember when in the old days when you said something like, you get somebody there like, oh, you just got stole. He got stole. He got fucking. He got face palmed, because when he tells him he was JFK was one of us, and I was trying to. I curved the bullet, but I wasn't in time. It's like McAvoy knew it was true, even though he didn't have his powers at the time. He knew he was telling the truth, but he was just like so mad at himself that he was mad, and he was like, whatever. It's like, you're still ugly.
I haven't played chess in years.
Yeah, that's what I said. He's like, because he's like, okay.
I did like that scene a lot. But then, so, and this is the only bone I have to pick with this movie. I mean, I gave it a 10 too. You gave it a 10. We all gave it a 10. You get a car. And then, sorry.
I get one.
But Wolverine's running at Magneto. You're going to get this climactic scene for fucking years. I wanted Wolverine to kick the shit out of Magneto. And he can't, because it's like that scene where he's like, imagine if they were metal. That was kind of funny. But, finally, you think you're going to get it. Wolverine starts running towards him because he's got the bone claws. Magneto can't, like, fly him away or whatever. And, like, Magneto's like, oh, shit. And he's like, he reminds me of a kid running away from, like, the police or something, or a killer in the streets. And he's like, just, you grab shit, whatever, behind you and throw it down so they have to run over top of it, because he's just, like, throwing shit at Wolverine. Wolverine's like, fuck you, like, knocking shit out of the way with his claws. And you're like, it's going to be badass. And then, but then that stupid fucking brick comes in, and he gets the metal wrapped in Wolverine, which looked cool. It was a badass scene. And he's like, fly away.
He's like, so much for you being a survivor.
I was so pissed.
But you know,
man.
I just wanted to see Michael Fassbender. Like, that's the Magneto. I mean, yeah, Ian McKellen and Wolverine have kind of fought a little bit, but this is like would have been Michael Fassbender versus Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. That's what I was waiting on. And I get, when people were in the theater, I was like, when I saw Wolverine coming around, he's like, because when Beast's like, I'll take care of this Sentinel, just go, and then he comes around the corner, he looks at Michael Fassbender, he's like, yeah, I was like, oh
no, dude, it's fucking
let's get ready, happen.
It's like when Mel Gibson sees you on the battlefield, and he's coming.
I felt like a kid, like like after school, and I was like, ooh, and I was like, oh god,
that was so fucking disappointing. Though, I mean, he couldn't have killed him because that would have altered time way more or whatever. But I would just want to. It would have been badass if Wolverine gets to him, grabs him, he's like, I can't kill you, but I'm gonna make you fucking pay. And just like beats the fuck out of him. Just for all the fucking years of Ian McKellen being like, you little turd, I can't do shit.
But you know how he did that though? I mean, when you're right, he just flipped him away. It's like he bitch slapped him like it was nothing, and he was like, see ya. That would such be a confidence killer if I was Wolverine. It's like, well, fuck, I can't even do shit.
Wolverine wake up, and he's walking through the mansion, everything's good and happy again, and you get there again, you're like, fuck this shit! You get all, you know, excited and shit. You see Beast as Kelsey Grammer.
I love that they got him to come back for just a second.
Let's start looking.
So shut up, Kelsey! I love you, Kelsey!
I don't know what to do with those salads.
Were you just not like happy? Like that whole scene, were you just happy?
They're calling again. What?
Were you just
no, I was happy as shit.
I was like, I want to go to school. I thought that'd be good away.
And he's got the rogue hair now. I was saying rogue hair. He's got the little gray streaks there.
And I love. Well, you saw Anna Paquin, which I didn't know she was even going to be in it for the cameo because I think they said that they cut her scene. But
Bobby just had a dude. He looked like creepy face.
I thought he went back and changed. I thought he went back in time and changed it. He was like, why has he still got a fucking beard? Like I don't care.
It'd be funny if it was like down to here. But he goes in,
top,
and you see Jean, and you're like, yes. And then he goes, Wolverine's like, Jean. And I knew right when he did it, you knew the Cyclops was going to be outside the door. The Cyclops was like, whoa.
I was like, oh, thank God. I was like, thank God you're here. I was like, I missed you. Barry's a kid. Barry's a kid. I was so happy, dude. I mean, that's my favorite X-Men. To me, I've always loved Cyclops. I'm like, fucked him over in X-Men 3. He's never been used properly. And like, I'm like, oh my God, yay! And then he was like, Scott, it's good to see you again. He was like, okay, whatever. I wish he had been like, pass through, Luke. Wolverine, remember at the beginning of the movie, Kitty Pryde had told him, you're going to be the only one that remembers what happened, and to everybody else it's going to be like history, nothing changed, or it's going to be all the same, but you're going to remember both timelines. Yeah. And I liked when, at some point he was pissed off because he walked in Professor Xavier's office, and he was like, it worked. He's like, what worked? Logan, don't you have a class to teach? And he's like, what the fuck? And he was probably like mad. He's like, you know what I just did? I just drowned. And
then he talked to me like a little shit.
And then finally, though, he was like, he's like, welcome back. And he was like, yeah, apparently I need a lot of history.
Yeah, much to talk about, my friend. Yeah, I don't know what's happening, where we are in time, or how that's going to work.
It's straightened itself. Okay, at the end of the movie, or they show a clip back to 1973, and you see Logan being pulled out of the water, and he's like, oh my God, he's alive. Did you hear that guy? Oh my God, he's alive. And all the metal's dropping out of him, and then Stryker's there. And he's like, what do you want us to do with him, Major Stryker? And then he smiles, turns around, and it's Mystique's eyes.
Before he turns into Mystique, it makes sense. Because when this is happening, in the middle of the movie, I'm thinking, well, how's Wolverine going to end up getting his adamantium? Yeah. Because he knows now everything that's going to happen. And he had that weird memory loss when he saw Stryker, and he says, I just saw someone who's going to give me a lot of pain someday. I'm not sure how they're going to work that in now that he knows who Stryker is, because he remembers, Yeah. So it's not like he's going to let Stryker do that to him again. So I'm thinking, okay, Stryker's got him. He's going to keep him prisoner. He's going to do it to him anyway, so that we still have the same Wolverine. But then it turns into Mystique, and I'm like,
well, it never, maybe that was a slight change on history because they did fuck with time, but maybe at some point she was pretending to be Stryker to get control of him, but maybe she loses him to the real Stryker at some point. Maybe that's how it happened. I don't know. I mean, they could easily do it. And I remember when Nicholas Hoult was talking earlier when he's like, you could throw a rock in a pond and it creates ripples, but eventually the timeline straightens itself, so it may all just be inevitable.
Maybe that's where the new Wolverine picks off.
Yeah, and also from there, or the Sentinels could still be coming too. I mean, because they talk about Apocalypse and the Cable and all that shit, so the future is actually still going to be shit.
Which that leads us to that after the credits scene, you see the pyramids and you see the people. I can't remember his name, but you see all the
and Sabah Noor.
You see, which is funny because it's Apocalypse and he's got the hood over his head and he comes out and it's like a teenage Apocalypse and he looks like powder, but he still looks pretty freaky or whatever. But he comes out and he's like doing this shit and then it sounded like they're, for some reason in the theater, it sounded like they're going, I've been to Babadola, I've been to Babadola.
It sounds like he said, I've been to Bob Dole.
I know, it sounded like Bob Dole. I was like, vote for Bob Dole. But everybody should calm down about that. They're like, that's Apocalypse supposed to be way bigger and shit like that. I saw an interview with one of the producers or whatever. He was like, we're just showing like a teenage version of him. That's not going to be the guy that's in Apocalypse.
That's actually, I think
that's the last time you'll see that guy.
It's been a while since I've read the Apocalypse origin story, but I think he was a kid, and he was like he became a lot more powerful. But he's like the first mutant, and he started out as a small little kid. Yeah. And I wonder if anybody was ever fucking thought like, is this Stargate? Like, what's going on? Is there going to be like a gate that opens up, and there's going to be like weird Egyptian with masks coming out? I don't know.
It was strange. One person brought up an idea that those when Mystique goes upstairs to look through trash shit, and she sees the dead mutants, they're saying that those 4 guys could be the Horsemen. So this movie, I mean, it's a fucking 10 for both of us. Each for making the comic book X-Men movie that we've all been wanting and deserved for so many fucking years.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely just mind-blowingly amazing. It was orgasmic. And,
oh, yeah, well, one more thing. There was a guy in the theater, and I get it that you're having a great time, and I'm glad that you're having a great time, but don't fucking, like, scream girl, geekasm at every fucking thing. Like, this guy, everything that happened, he would just go, ah, ha, ha! He'd bray like a donkey getting butt fucked. It was nonstop. Everything, even when Peter Dinklage was just walking into the Senate meeting, he was like, ah, ha, ha! I was like, you sound like a fucking pirate. Shut the fuck up. And it kept going and going, and dude, like, he must have blown in his pants like 3 times and never been out of the house because everything was just crazy at me. At some point, this guy in the theater was like, "Damn!" And I did it too. I mean, there was a moment where, like near the end, and like after taking in everything, I was like, "I've just orgasmed in my pants," and Geektasm was great.
Yeah, I know.
But I did that. But this guy was doing it too much. Like, suck a tit for a little while.
Calm it down and stop giving the rest of us geeks a bad name.
I was like, you read comic books or something?
That's why nobody can take you places. But and
he was with a girl, but he was one of those like. Yeah, it wasn't his girlfriend. I know that it wasn't his girlfriend.
But so the question of the day is, everybody's been asking me this, Captain America 2, which one did you like better? I'm not putting them against me. I fucking love them both, and you should love them both. You should love them both. You should love DC. You should love Marvel.
They're your children!
Yes.
What?
But stop the hate. It's like mutants versus humans. Stop the DC Marvel shit. Even though this isn't DC Marvel, but
it's like, it really is like having kids. Though you first see this one, that's your older child, like, and then you have another one. You're like, I'll never love you any less. It's like, you're both equally loved.
That's true. But Captain America 2, X-Men: Days of Future Past. Which one's better in your opinion? I hate to do it. But
this one.
X-Men.
Yeah,
it's just they're both amazing movies, and I gave Captain America 9.5. I gave X-Men a 10, and the reason is it's so much more epic. Even though you got the Hydra shit going on, and we're talking about the absolute apocalyptic for sure into the fucking
this is
world.
like, well, this is dude, coming from what how Bryan Singer. I mean, you know, Marvel was able to do it right. They built all these characters and they did it real. Bryan Singer had to take all these crazy stories that they had gone with in the X-Men, except for the first 2, but Days of Future Past, X-Men 1 and 2, X-Men Terrible 3, Wolverine Origins, the Wolverine, and tie them all together somehow and make it work and make it seem like they all flowed in the same direction. That's fucking amazing out of itself. It really is. It's not Whedon genius, but it's like really smart. Like, it's really smart. But to me, it's one of the best. Next to the Avengers, and it touches Avengers' butt cheek. It really does. It's like touching it like right there. It pinches it.
Hey guys, by the way, I want to tell you, like us on Facebook because we're gonna have a video going there and nowhere else for a couple weeks.
Wow,
a Power Rangers video. So if you want to see the Power Rangers video, it'll be on there in a few days. Click the link below to go to our Facebook and make sure that you like our Facebook page so that you get that video weeks before anybody else does. And also share these videos on Facebook with your friends. That shit helps us a huge bunch. I'll quit bitching now. Click that subscribe button. I'm Mike. He's Jay. We'll see you guys next time. We need you to hope again.
We need you to subscribe. Why did I get
like...
I know, you spit.
We watched a movie. Yeah. We watched a movie. We watched it. We watched a movie. Yeah. You know what? We did a review. We watched a movie.